builds a whole car, can't even get an airplane together. You said closes the hole. This thing is so sick.
Cut this guy off. So this is our PTFE line. As you can tell, we have way too much to do just the fuel system. So that's kind of why I was wanting to use this for water as well. Also, we have a ton of fittings. We have, what is that? We have a 45s, 90s, I think that's a 180. We also have adapters for hard lines to, we also have adapters from hard lines to AM fittings, which I'd already bought some of these, so now we can return those other ones, get some money back. Then we also got AN to normal hose fittings, and then these guys, I think this is just to keep two hoses together, make it a little bit cleaner. So lots of stuff. But with that being said, we should have some stuff left over to do the water line, so that's good. And then of course, we got a sticker, and also instructions, which would have been helpful when I did my lines. Just to talk about what I did wrong. I was flaring this guy out and then trying to put the nut inside this plastic, which you're supposed to put the plastic inside the ferrule. So when we do a water line, I record it and kind of go over that process. Again, huge shout out to Evil Energy for hooking us up.
What? These the water lines you're talking about?
Huh? Hold on. I hate talking to Cam. You have to be so specific because he can't, like, un-engineer his brain.
You talking shit about an engineer and you're an engineer?
I'm not an engineer.
That's crazy.
I got a C in my degree. He probably got...
Now I'm done geeking out over this engine.
Alright, so motor is in. We're bolted in. Transmission is being jacked up right now. I don't know where we left off last, but this guy came in, is a Kraken water mixing bowl, which allowed me to do this AN line right here, and also change the inlet out front, so we have more room to run intercooler piping. Also, it utilizes the factory water neck, which is cool. We got the motor finally in the car. We got the turbo setup finally on, and then also the intake setup finally on. We also obviously got the action clutch flywheel on, transmission on. Basically almost ready to get this thing fully bolted in. The motor mounts are in, but we're just chilling on the jacks in the back just to get it in the spot we need it. The goal for this video is to get the intercooler piping routed and tacked up so we can get to Travis as fast as we can, so we can get it back from him as fast as we can. The second we get that stuff back, we can work on getting this thing running and to the tune shop. Once that's done, we can really start finalizing everything. I don't want to focus on the interior or anything like that. I don't want to put time in the interior when I need to get that tune done. So those are the main goals: is get the intercooler piping finalized, get it welded from Travis, put it back in here, and then get this thing ready to go tune. So let's first start on the Fab 9 intercooler. This thing is massive. We gotta do some cutting to get it fit in there, so let's get to it. See where yours is hitting?
Yeah.
Oh. Alright, put yours back up. Oh, it's hitting that part of the core support.
Yeah.
Damn. Alright.
Honestly, do you have a... Oh, you got... Alright, so look here. What goes right here?
No, so right here is the radiator. We have to be up here.
Okay.
But I think we just played it, or... after cutting
Cut
it.
this way, then brace it up.
Are you hitting there?
I'm hitting
I'm hitting here.
here.
Okay. What'd you need that for?
Make a fucking straight line.
I ain't gonna cut a straight line in a second.
Yeah, so from the edge we are... Shut the fuck up.
You got some muscle on them arms.
I ain't worried about it.
Isn't that fun? So Danny Boy came over, got my old roll bar. He bought it a while back, and he finally made the trip up here to come get it. So we threw it in his car. If you don't remember Danny, he's from, here's a clip from Driven Luck Circuit.
I'm Daniel from Arkansas. This is my 91 Mazda Miata.
Dude's an animal, and that NA Miata, he's going to be even scarier whenever he goes turbo. But after we got that in, after we got the roll bar in, Colton came over, and so did Raymond, and we got the intercooler mounted. And also, Raymond and Colton pulled my rear fenders. But we did just get the diff back that we dropped off at Travis's to get the plating done on the casing, and then also the diff itself welded. And this thing should never break. And I haven't cracked it open yet, but I already know it's going to look good because Travis did it. And I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but that should be a 4.1 gear ratio, which should feel pretty nice with the 6-speed. I think the torsion that comes with the 6-speed is a 3.9, so we're getting closer to what is native for that gearbox. So should be good. I'm pretty sure my old one was a 4.3, but who knows. So the last clips you probably just saw was me doing the intercooler piping. So let's talk about it. So we got the driver's side done, and I was not expecting it to be this easy, but it's just one pipe ran. I had to cut it right here. So now all I need to get is a bead rolled on that. And then we got to the passenger side. This guy, no 50 right here, because this is a 64 millimeter throttle body, and these are 2.5. I measured this, and it should be a 2.75, so I got an adapter coming, so hopefully it'll be here in the next day or so. But in the meantime, I was throwing a pipe up through here, trying to get an idea where everything's going to go, and it looks like we need to get rid of this guy, which this should be the mount for the sway bar, which we don't run. It is very hard to run one with all the spall fans and everything else in there. I haven't had one my whole career, so it's finally time to say bye-bye to that. It'll also save us some room over here, and I could probably angle this up a little bit more, get a better angle here, which you can kind of see it slopes down and goes up. So the only crappy part now is that I have to take this back out, which means I have to take the fans off, yada yada yada, because that bracket is behind the bracket that holds the radiator. So let's get this guy off. Alrighty, so now we gotta take this bracket off, and that bracket off, and then this bolt, and there's one behind here that takes this guy off, and then there's two on the other side. So let's go ahead and get that guy off. All right, so we got that cut off with the radiator back in, and as you can see, there's so much more room in here, and definitely more room on this side to run that pipe. What I'd like to do first is run this guy back and see if I can get it just a little bit tighter before we move on to this guy, because I still don't have this coupler. It should be here tomorrow. I bought one off Amazon, then I bought the Mishimoto one that should be here Thursday. So at least tomorrow we can fit up, check the intercooler piping, and try to get something cut and ready to go. Update, it's been a minute. We got this side finished out. As you can see, Colton did us some welds down there to get this guy pretty flat and going in smoothly, and also not stretching out. This coupler, the way I had it first, was a 90 going up, and it was kind of coming at an angle and not setting right there. So we got that taken care of. I don't know if I updated this side, but this side's done as well. We got the power steering pump in with my A fetting off the Banjo. This Banjo is off an MB power steering pump, which is this guy, but if you see, that is a weird fitting. So I took the Banjo fitting off this, which is the MB pump, put it on the NA pump so we could use this guy right there. If you can see, which Colton welded us a AN6 nipple on it, and then we're working on this over here, which he has the other half, but this is the factory power steering reservoir, and it had some nipples coming off it that didn't work, so we are working on putting a dash AN8, actually it's a dash AN8, we're fixing that one over there too, and then doing a dash 8. Oh, this is a dash 6, this is dash 8. Whew, drunk. Dash 8, dash 6, and then switching this one to dash 8, and then the dash 6 will be going back into the rack somewhere over there. We also got all this in. Colton did this yesterday. We got the fuel pressure regulator mounted, the catch can mounted, and then we relocated this guy a little over. It used to be over there where the catch can is. I've also almost got all of this connected. I got it connected here into the block, then I got these hanging off. So this is my old bracket that held my cooler and intercooler on. This now hits the intercooler, so I need to trim it back and modify this bracket, but this whole bracket's good. It's sturdy, it mounts, it's got 4 mounts basically, down here and then up top near the hood latch. So I'm going to plan is to move this over and then get another one of these for the power steering, so I can have a cooler for that. And then we were working on installing the diff. We haven't made much headroom there because we were doing all the other stuff, but that should be next, is doing the diff, getting all this done, then we can start running the exhaust back. With all that being said, we got to do the power steering reservoir with Colton. And then while he's doing that, I'll probably start working on maybe that bracket or some wiring, but we'll see. So we ran out of gas, but Colton got this fabbed up. So this is the nipple he cut off from right here. The idea here is this goes in, kind of shoots down a little bit, and that helps with the bubbles coming into this, kind of like a baffle. And then he'll weld that guy at work. He'll seal this thing off at work as well, weld that up, and then we'll have that bung hopefully tomorrow to weld this side up. Since we did run out of gas, we got this guy prepped. So we got the hole ready for the IAT and the boost reference, and then we'll drop this off with Travis. He's gonna roll a bead on both sides, and then also that piping over there. All right, so we're gonna move on to this guy now. So with this installed this way, this guy right here starts hitting the intercooler. And if you see the mounting points, we got this guy and then these two right here. So there's your top mount And right there is the bottom mount, which makes this thing pretty damn sturdy. So I don't really want to mess with it too much. The goal right now, take this off and then slice these off and then move this mounting point right here. I just need to double check that this is big enough, which I'm pretty sure it is. Also, after that's all done, I would like to figure out a way to tie the intercooler into that bracket using this hole. There's one up there, but I don't think I'm going to be able to use it, so we'll just be using the bottom hole. But right now we're mounted right there, right here. So there's only 2 mounts right now. So it leaves this bottom portion a little wiggly. And I don't know if I like that, especially if we get some impact down here. I don't want to be ripping those. I want more contact possibly. So that's a goal once we get all of this situated with this thing. I'm going to try to find another one of these, hopefully the same size to put right here for the power steering, but we'll see where this goes first. But let's get those little ears chopped off first. Give a little rundown of how prep to dyno day and dyno day went. So the night before, we were finally getting this thing started. I haven't even started yet for dyno day. Everything's been cutting it close. So we put water in the system, started leaking from the little water neck under the heater hose, started leaking from the water neck under the exhaust manifold. I took it in and out, kept ripping the boot. I took it in and out, kept ripping the gasket. We finally took the neck off the VVT motor, put it on here, and it worked. But it doesn't fit properly. It's kind of like smushed up against the block. So I think the MB one is a little different. The like mounting bracket that bolts up to the manifold is slightly different. It pushes it inward. But for now, it works. But I also got a spare one right here that I'll take with me. I might do it. I might replace it before we leave because I still got to put coolant in this thing and still have just water. But yeah, had that happen the night before, didn't get any sleep, went up there. I was late because the clutch decided not to work when I was pulling on the trailer. we'll get into that later, but I finally got to work enough to get on the trailer and got there about an hour and a half late. The guy was kind of cool with it. He just said, I'll tune something else. So he's on the dyno tuning something else when I showed up. Got this thing off the trailer. I was letting it warm up and get up to temp, and I was looking around the bottom of the engine bay, seeing if anything was leaking, and I see the starter doing this. And I see the starter shaking. I was like, oh no. And I was looking at the bolts, and both bolts were loose. I didn't bring enough of the right tools to do it. What I did have was a crescent and a half-inch drive ratchet with an extension 12 mil. So I got the bottom bolt as tight as I could, one click at a time. Got on the dyno, the alternator belt just keeps squealing and squealing and squealing. The electronic boost control wasn't working. The idle air control valve wasn't working. We had a nut under the throttle body come loose. There's a little screw right there. You see it? Yeah, I have it red Loctite now, but it backed out on the first pull and left the throttle like this. So that was scary. The coolant temp sensor was flaking out. I fixed that. That was a loose pin. So yeah, pretty stressful day. Probably some tears coming out. It was not good, but it came out good in the end. This car is pretty safe. I talked to the guy, I told him what's going on. He's like, this car should be safe for that. So we're good. I got an idle air control valve there. I got an idle air control valve on there. Since that, I've taken the electronic boost controller out of the system and just went straight to the wastegate. And turns out I had the idle air control valve wrong. I had it flipped on this side. So yeah, I've got it on there now. I'm tuning the idle now. I've got it close enough, but I will just keep playing with it over the week. Moving on to the clutch issue. I ended up replacing the slave. It kind of helped. The first slave was like losing pressure over time. I think it was a slave, but I also think it might have been the master because we ended up replacing the master and fixed all the issues. So the clutch is solid now. There's no fading. It goes into all the gears good. I don't know. I'm just going to bring them both for spares now. And hopefully we don't have to mess with any of that. So I think that's about everything that catches us up now. Moving forward, we're still waiting on a couple of things to come in. I need this set up. I need a real intake. I got this off Amazon. I still don't know how I feel about this. It's a little plastic mesh and there's just nuts holding it on. But I also am worried about, you know, like a rock coming up and just destroying that. So I might take it off and just run it and just wait for tomorrow. And wait till tomorrow when all my stuff comes in to make a real filter work. Also want to give a huge shout out to Colton. Colton has came over multiple times, stayed late, has helped me fab up stuff while I was working on other stuff or ordering other things. He put a lot of work in. Obviously didn't ask for anything because he's a good friend, so that was solid. I would not be at this point if Colton didn't come over. So really appreciate you, Colton. Also, shout out to David and Raymond. They always come over. That's a given. David and Raymond are always here anytime something big is going down. I don't even have to ask them to come over. So big shout out to y'all too as well. Anyone else I'm missing? Also Nelly. Nelly came over, helped out. Thanks Nelly. And then the biggest shout out to my wife for letting me go through all this, for taking time away from being in there, being out here all the time, also taking Thanksgiving week completely off while she went up to her parents. I was down here just slaving away trying to get this going. So thank you so much, Sydney. I love you. I appreciate it. And thanks Evelyn as well, because I know she really misses me. So where do we go from here? Basically just putting the car back together, interior, and really just drive the crap out of it, take as much data logging as I can so we can send it to the Fab 9 guy and get some live updates as we're doing Drift Week. Put the kit on. Obviously we're not painting this thing and we're not putting those fiberglass fenders on. I kind of want to get rid of the fiberglass fenders to be honest with you, but we'll see how that goes when we get back. So yeah, I don't know what I'll record of doing that, but that's what we're doing. But that's the plan going forward, so let's get it.